If you're listening right now and you feel unmotivated, disappointed in yourself, stuck in a rut, but you want to start fresh and you don't know where to begin, listen closely. The first thing I would tell you is don't rely on New Year's resolutions. Nearly 80% of people abandon them within the first 2 weeks. And when that happens, it doesn't inspire you. It makes you feel worse about yourself. That doesn't mean you shouldn't have a direction or something meaningful to pursue. It means you need a better starting point. And that starting point is energy. When your energy is low, your intellect shuts down. Your spirit disengages. Your soul isn't fully present. It's like owning the most powerful computer in the world, but never plugging it in. Without energy, nothing works. Think about it. When you feel good, you treat people better. You show up stronger. You perform at a higher level. But when you feel exhausted or drained, you're hard on yourself. And that spills over into how you treat others. That's why energy is the foundation of everything. Another reason people feel bad is because they compare where they are to where they think they should be. But everyone's path is different. There is no universal timeline. When you judge yourself too early, you rob yourself of momentum. If you want to take control of your life again, you must stop comparing yourself, especially in a world dominated by social media. And let's be honest, this pressure is even heavier for women. Study after study shows that the more time women and young girls spend on social media, the harsher they judge themselves. They're bombarded with unrealistic images that have nothing to do with health, vitality, or individuality. So how do you break free? You stop trying to control everything. There are two worlds you must understand: the external world and the internal world. Our culture trains us to obsess over the external world while neglecting the internal one. That's why so many people struggle mentally, because inside their minds are endless judgments and expectations. Here's the truth: you cannot control the external world. People will have opinions whether you approve of them or not. Thinking you can control that is pure ego, and ego is just fear. Fear that you're not enough. But there is a world you can master: the internal world. And you do that by becoming conscious of 3 decisions you are making every single moment of your life. Most people don't make them consciously, which means they're made habitually at a subconscious level. That's why the same problems repeat again and again. Decision number 1, what are you focusing on? Your entire life is shaped by your focus. What you focus on determines how you feel. And what you feel becomes your experience of life, not reality itself, but your perception of it. Have you ever believed someone wrongs you, felt upset and hurt, only to later discover it wasn't even true? Your pain felt real because your focus made it real to you. Focus creates feeling. And the quality of your life is the quality of your emotions. Here is a clean, fully rewritten version without timestamps, original wording, same meaning, smooth flow, and motivational intervention style language suitable for narration or YouTube use. Have you ever experienced a situation where you believed someone close to you did something hurtful, only to later discover it wasn't true at all? In that moment, the pain felt real, not because it was real, because what you focused on became real to you. That's the truth. Focus creates reality for the individual, even when it isn't reality in actuality. A simpler way to say it is this: focus creates feelings. And the quality of your life is determined by where you live emotionally. You could have unlimited wealth, you could have a loving partner, a beautiful family, everything people dream of. But if every single day you focus on what's wrong, what's missing, or what there is to worry about, you will still be unhappy. It doesn't matter what you have. What matters is where your attention goes. Now, Focus is only the first decision. The second decision happens instantly and usually unconsciously. What does this mean? Is this the end or is it the beginning? Is this person attacking you, or are they challenging you to grow? Are they rejecting you, or are they guiding you? The meaning you assign to an experience immediately changes how you feel. And since emotions shape the quality of your life, meaning becomes everything. That's why two people can go through the same trauma and come out with completely different outcomes. One is broken by it, the other is strengthened by it. The difference is not the event, it's the focus and the meaning they give it. What's wrong is always available to focus on, but so is what's right. This isn't about blind positivity, it's about intelligence. If you believe a relationship is ending, you will behave very differently than if you believe it's just beginning. And if you want it not to end, then act like it's the beginning, because people show up differently when they do. Meaning creates emotion, emotion shapes life. Now comes the third decision. Once you feel something, that emotion drives your actions. If the meaning you give something makes you angry, you'll act one way. If it makes you playful, curious, or loving, you'll act in a completely different way. These three decisions, focus, meaning, and action, are controlling your entire life, whether you realize it or not. So here's a question to ask yourself honestly. Do you focus more on what you have or on what's missing? Most people focus on what's missing. That's the default setting of the human brain. And it's not because people are weak, it's because the brain is wired for survival. A survival brain looks for threats. It scans for danger to ask, what could go wrong? That kept us alive thousands of years ago, but today it keeps us stressed, anxious, and dissatisfied. And here's something surprising: the people who focus the most on what's missing are often overachievers. They believe if they constantly see the gap, they'll close it. But the problem is this: if you always focus on what's missing, happiness can never last. The mind is just software. You are not your mind. Your soul is bigger than your thoughts. And the good news is this: you can train your mind. You can condition it to focus on abundance instead of scarcity, on growth instead of fear, on control instead of chaos. Most people never do this work, but the ones who do change everything. Let me ask you something important. Do you tend to focus more on what you can control or on what you can't? If we're being honest, most people are hardwired to focus first on what's out of their control. That's the default setting. But over time, you can train yourself to shift that focus, just like building a muscle. The key is awareness. You begin to notice when your mind drifts toward things you can't change, and instead of fighting it, you pause and redirect. You tell yourself, this is fruitless. This is not where my power is. And then you deliberately move your attention back to what is within your control. Now, let's be clear, this doesn't come naturally to most people. Human beings are wired for survival. Our brains evolved to scan for danger, to anticipate problems, to look for what could go wrong. That instinct kept us alive thousands of years ago, but today it keeps us anxious, stressed, and overwhelmed. This is why negativity grabs attention so easily. It's not because people are broken, it's because the brain has a built-in negative bias. That's also why media tends to focus on fear and conflict. Upsetting information captures attention faster than positive information ever will. But here's what's fascinating. Many people notice their negative focus shows up strongest first thing in the morning. You wake up, and before your feet hit the floor, your mind starts racing, replaying worries, anticipating problems, imagining worst-case scenarios. That's why gratitude is so powerful. When you consciously start your day by focusing on what you're grateful for, you interrupt that pattern. It doesn't erase the habit overnight, it's a practice. But over time, that practice rewires your brain. At first, this redirection requires conscious effort. You have to catch yourself. You have to interrupt the pattern. And yes, that can feel like a battle. But here's the breakthrough: when you change the conditioning, it stops being a struggle. Eventually, your focus shifts automatically. Your mind begins to look for solutions instead of threats. You move from reaction to control. That's when real change happens, not because life gets easier, but because you get stronger. And once that becomes who you are, not just something you do, everything changes.